Did you know that recent DNA testing has in fact revealed that the Portuguese cultivar of Touriga Nacional has a parent relationship to Touriga Franca? Both grapes are used heavily in the production of port in the Douro Valley in northern Portugal. Touriga Franca is a grape that's known for its extroverted aromatics and its elegance. Touriga Nacional, on the other hand, is known for its intense color and structure and rich fruit. Jancis Robertson quite helpfully describes the relationship by saying that Touriga Franca is the Cabernet Franc to Touriga Nacional's Cabernet Sauvignon. And in the same way that Cabernet Sauvignon is planted really rather widely around the world, so Touriga Nacional is planted really widely across Portugal. And all over the country, it's gaining respect for its ability to deliver some really high quality dry red wines, as opposed to simply being blended into port. Now we're talking about Touriga Nacional and Portugal because today's Hand Drink Solo wine of the day is the Investec Trophy Wine Show gold medal winning Krans Tritonia Touriga Nacional led red blend from the Calitzdorp district in the Klein Karoo, vinified by winemaker Chris Nel. The Krans Tritonia red blend is pretty darn bizarre by South African standards, but then it's from Calitzdorp, and Calitzdorp is pretty darn bizarre by South African standards. So this blend is led by Touriga Nacional, and then it's supported by its child, Touriga Franca. Then there's a portion of Tempranillo in the blend. Obviously in Portugal, especially up in the north, that's get called Tinta Barocca. And then also in the blend, just to finish it off, there is a little splash of Tinta Barocca. Now, if this wine were being made in the Douro in Portugal, it would be obvious as to why these cultivars have been paired in one wine. First of all, they are 4 of the 6 cultivars that are allowed to be used in the making of port wines in the Douro. And as a result, these are the cultivars that are all grown in that region. So they're grown there and vinified there together all the time. However, that's North Portugal. If you go to South Africa, it's a completely different story, and the grouping of these cultivars makes almost no sense whatsoever, unless you are aware that South Africa actually has its own little version of the Douro, and that is Calitzdorp in the Klein Karoo. Now, I've made a video elsewhere where I talk about why Calitzdorp, with its incredible soils and climate, is so perfectly suited to making some superb world-class port-style wine, which in turn explains the total domination of Portuguese cultivars in this region. So I'll leave a link to that video on the site. But if that's not enough for you, then I sincerely suggest that you track down wines like the Krans 2018 Cape Vintage Reserve, the Boets Tawny Colheiter 2007, or the Peter Bailey Cape Vintage 2015, and put them up against your favorite classic bottles of port from classic Douro houses, and tell me that those wines I just mentioned don't deliver the same level of quality, but at a fraction of the price. Sticking with dry red wines for now, our blend of the day, as I've said, is made exclusively from Portuguese cultivars, and it's also made exclusively with fruit from the Calitzdorp ward. Now, there are only a handful of these sorts of overtly Douro-inspired red blends in the country, and as of 2024, all of those wines came from Calitzdorp. But it is worth noting that hectare for hectare, there are probably more Portuguese cultivars like Tinta Barocca or Touriga Nacional grown in the Swartland and in Paarl, both hot, dry regions. And I guess if you're looking for some sort of more general viticultural takeaway from all this, it would be that these cultivars are what farmers are looking to save them as the Cape winelands become hotter and drier, and as dryland farming becomes more and more prevalent. Finally, when we get into the glass and give this guy a sniff, well, we are greeted by a really rich, sweet and spicy vanguard. So there's notes of plums, prunes, ripe fig, then there's blackcurrant fruit pastels as well, and even a little bit of sort of aniseed and a touch of oak-inspired vanilla. When we get to give it a sip, well, again, there's a delightful sense of rich, sweet fruit, even though there's less than 3 grams of sugar per litre in the wine. There's the primary onslaught of rich plums and prunes and even blueberries, but then we also get some of that oak spice that we smelt on the nose, kind of complicating the palate as well. The tannins have softened a little bit, but it still has enough structure to keep that rich fruit in check. And that's all we have time for today, but if you enjoyed the video, then support us on Patreon so that we can make more of these sorts of videos, and subscribe to the Hand Drink Solo YouTube channel, where we publish at least 6 videos each month talking about things like wine science, wine history, unusual cultivars, regions that specialize in unusual cultivars like Calitzdorp, and some of the dynamic winemaking stars that are coming out of the unique South African wine.